Hey,
Hi,
how you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Can't complain.
Yeah, so let me start. So I have to do this project for school.
Hmm.
I'm a future entrepreneur myself, and I've been thinking about business ideas. I had a Kindle business idea actually too. Um,
Awesome.
yeah, I'm very spiritual as well, so I was thinking about doing Yoni healing for the females. It
Yes.
is super important. A lot of females do not understand that, but you have to heal from within. And
Oh,
that
yes.
started by, reflecting and really going within. So, yeah.
I love it. We need more of that for sure. And that's so crazy where I started as a self-love author and honestly, I paired it with products so that it can be pushed out more in the market so people can at least start to have the conversation. Um and it worked. It when you
Really?
pair the message with a product, you at least get to engage and start having the conversation. And those people who are just curious or they heard a little bit, they are open to listen. So I think that's the way for us to really get our message out there and help people with healing by going through the physical products. Um, yeah, you'll definitely be able to start the conversation. We need more
That's
of it.
nice that you telling me it went off because I've been doubting myself so much. Into business, like it's either
Mhm.
you go for your thing or you self doubt yourself. But I've been doubting myself so much when it comes to it because a lot of people don't take it serious. And
Mhm.
it's just like I don't know if it will work, if people will be interested. So it's kind of stressful.
Yes, business is. It's a lot of like up peaks and valleys. It's nothing like your 9 to 5. It's a hard thing to like transition to because you're used to school, certain hours, certain weeks. You get a certain benefit out of it. You're used to work certain hours every Friday or every other Friday. You get something out of it. Where when business, it's not like that. I can literally be making $2,000 in one day and then the next day make zero. So you have to like just really I for me when you talk about go within, just have faith
Yeah,
and to follow what it is that your inner calling is and then figure out how to manipulate it with what is going on today. So that's kind of how I went from, you know, giving my message out with my book and then pairing it with products so that I can still have the conversation and then still help someone with the physical,
right.
so I can get inward, because that's really what it's all about, as we all know.
Definitely, definitely. What is your book about? I would be interested to read it.
Oh yeah, so I have it's a self-love book. It's called I Am Love, Tap into Your Power. It really helps you with tapping into your power, really figuring out who you are, why are
Mm.
you here, what is your purpose, diving deep. Like I'm a Scorpio, so for me it's just
You are?
yeah, my birthday's on Thursday.
Oh, that's so cute. I'm an Aquarius, but I'm dealing with a twin flame, so-called twin flame, and he's a Scorpio.
My karmic is Aquarius. My child's father is Aquarius, the
Really?
14th of
Wow. That's
yes.
crazy. I
Uh,
don't know. I don't know if he's a karmic or twin flame, but it's crazy.
At first I thought he was a twin, but it was definitely a karmic. I learned a lot of lessons in that connection, but I don't regret it at all because it really helped me become who I am and take
Yeah,
the veil off and see things for what it is. And I learned so much about myself through the connection. So that's kind of how bad it was. I knew it wasn't a twin flame because, yeah, if the other half of me ain't gonna do all that other stuff. So
yeah.
I was like, oh, it's a karmic. Okay, I understand. So now it's time to learn. So I learned more than he did because males go a little bit slower in their learning process.
Definitely.
But yeah, definitely was an experience for
Yeah,
sure.
I know what you're talking about.
Especially for us because we are very fixed and
Oh
stubborn. We
my
stay in our
God. It's
ways.
like feminine energy. A lot of men think that feminine energy is all sweet and soft, but it's very dark. It's
Ugh.
very, very dark, and they don't get that. Like, we're very emotional, I've been trying to work on my emotions. I'm only 20 years old, so it's like growing up and stuff is hard, but I have to do it.
Well, you starting way earlier than me because I hit this point at mid 20s. So now I'm about to turn 34 this month, in a few days, and I'm just like, oh my God, imagine if I was 20. Oh my God, I got married young, like 22. I got married. I had my
Yep.
kid at like 28. Really having her is what really set me to do a lot of work because I was like, I want her to be proud of who I am as a woman. So I need to become the woman I've always dreamt for me to be. And so
Yeah.
I've started to step into that through those 9 months and then rebirth myself, while I'm over here birthing her. So yeah, like kudos to you at 20,
Thank
even in
you.
this space, because when you are 30, just
Yeah, and I heard from 30 to like 40 is the age to really with life. It's
yeah.
hard. And people tell me that. So I'm very proud of myself, but it just comes with a lot of pain and a lot of growth, which is, given.
Oh yeah, so much pain. People think that the spiritual people who actually
Oh no.
doing this work know, like this is not easy.
No,
This
a
is
lot of people spread fake positivity, which is spirituality is not all love and light. It's mostly pain
yeah.
and tears.
Well, you tell it. I was just sitting here reflecting on that in my journal. I was just like, we need to talk about this because it's really not love and light. I do give love for sure. I want everyone to succeed, but I want people to really dive deep into that dark subconscious self, that childhood, those pains, those
Yeah,
things you suppressed and everything like that. Those things that you detach from, you need to reattach and really get to know yourself and heal. And then, when you start to climb out of that dark, you will appreciate all of the experiences
yeah,
that you had because it molds you to who you are. So I don't regret it, but it was years of pain for sure.
yeah. I've been with him for 4 years, and I don't even know if he's a twin or a karmic, but he's been cheating. So it's like, you
Even the twin, I think even a twin or a soulmate do that. They have to learn their lesson. They
yeah,
just more stubborn. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like God puts us in the field for us to learn our self-worth and self-love and that we are an image of him. And they put a man in the field so he can not only learn himself, build his character, his morals, and for him to build stability for himself.
yeah.
And then we supposed to connect. But
That's
we are premature in that field work when we supposed to
why
be doing
we
field
just
work.
want to give love and just be all right, but it don't
Then
work
let's
like
come
that.
together. But we
Yeah,
have to and that's why it's like sometimes it's good to have the space so he can learn. And
yeah,
so you can learn certain things. And not be so attached when you're in that space. Yeah,
yeah.
that's the hard thing. Especially as us fixed signs, we want to be like, no, now,
Now,
the way I
now,
want
like, give me that now.
it, the way I want it right now,
Yeah,
act the way. But he has to grow, so you have to allow him space to
yeah.
learn.
I've been. It's hard because I know what he's doing, but I'm not trying to open my mouth and be like, "La, la, la," so he could go and
Neither.
then no. I'm trying to
Nope.
give him space.
That's what I do. I cut it off and I give space. And when you come
It's
in, we can.
hard. It's
It
hard
is.
because you want them, and it's just like when you don't have them, it's like, what are you
Yes. I
doing?
I be crying over even a Beauty and Beast movie and watch with my
Oh
daughter. I
my
start
god,
crying. I'm like,
I
oh
be
my
crying for
God.
no reason.
Who you telling?
Yeah,
But hey, like I just at the end of the day, like even when I have a conversation with someone, I just say, listen, like you got some things you need to learn and you need to respect me and go learn those things. Experience what you need to experience. Because when you come back, come correct. Like that's it.
right.
Have give me
Very.
that enough that rest, respect. And then I gotta remind myself to respect myself and not leave the door too open because if not, I know exactly what's going
That's
how this
what
is
I
gonna go.
learned too. I learned that giving them too much is just like unhealthy.
Yeah. Hmm.
Unhealthy. Which you want to give them, we have that motherhood within us. So it's like I want to give, 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 but then
Yes.
I don't allow to receive, and I feel like that's my problem.
Me too. I'm
Yeah,
starting to do that now. Like I'm
yeah,
starting to allow myself to receive and expect and have and ask. open my
And
mouth and say,
ask, yes, because
yeah.
I know Scorpios and Aquarius have a hard time to ask. Oh
Oh
my God.
yes, we do.
We rather die than ask anybody.
What you telling? Like, I'll get it myself or I'll
I get it
struggle.
myself.
Yes. But nope, I'm like, nope, we need, because I give so much. So now I know, okay, if I'm gonna give so much and I'm gonna fill your cup, I want to make sure that you're gonna fill my cup too. And I shouldn't struggle and I shouldn't be sitting here so independent that I cannot receive. And I'm like, no, because that actually able to be more independent if I allow you to be the man. So then I shift my mindset with that because I can like, no, I can still be real independent, but I'm gonna have my coin and my space and my time to do what I really love and what I want to do if I allow you to be the man and not do everything.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I was like, okay, now that shift of respect I can live with, you know what I'm saying? Then be independent.
Yeah. So let me start with the questions.
Yes.
I have a whole bunch of questions that my teacher
Okay.
gave me.
Okay.
So the first one being, in your own words, who are you and what is your business?
So, my name is Siedah Johnson. I am a self love author and a crystal candle maker. I actually wrote my book in 2018. And then when COVID broke out and happened, I was working with kids. So, I was out of work for a very long time. And it just so happens that around COVID, my friends started to ask me about how can I sage my house? Come and show me how to do it. Which crystal should I buy? And I'm like, this is funny because they never talked about it, but they knew I was the go-to person for it. So, of course, like Amazon was taking so long to provide their sage and everything like that. So I was like, you know what? I should like take my savings and start a business. So I did. I started selling everything: crystals, crystal jewelry, sage, candles, and my books. And I had a great idea for the holiday towards the end of last year for me to pair everything into a self love kit with my self love book. And it was a hit. I had like two, three tables of boxes, all full to deliver for everyone. And I loved it because it was in my community was also growing. So it felt like when COVID happened, people really started to look within, was really tapping into their spiritual side, trying to find alternative methods of loving themselves and dealing with their issues because they were home alone and they had nothing to do but think. And also about them like really clearing their space and cleansing their space. So they were open to alternative. And so a lot of Christmas gifts were self-love kits, and people were spreading joy and spreading love that way. So, and since then I have been I'm full time now in my business. I don't work for someone else. And I am selling way more books than I ever did in 2018 now. So that is really like how I started this business. And now I'm in stores and I'm partnering up with stores and I'm making candles for them as well. So it has taken an unbelievable turn.
I like that. It kind of relates to my story because, like you said, everyone got pushed to really be home. And from there, it was like no more school, no more job, and people were just left to think for themselves. And that's how I got my spiritual awakening. I got awakening through like something that I've done, and I just sat there and I was like, this is completely wrong. And then I just like went into a guilt trip, and then my soul literally did a 360 on me. And I was like, oh my God, okay, I have to do this. And then I heard a voice in my head, and I knew it was not my thoughts. I knew it was something else. And it says, this is your path. And I was like, what do you mean this is my path? So I went back home and then I did whatever I could to figure it out. And then I figured out it was my spiritual journey and my self love, which is, I love that. I
It
love
was
your
actually
story.
something similar to that of why how I wrote my book. I was dreaming and it said that I needed to write a book of what I've been through on my journey thus far. So at first I started a blog and I started writing everything. And then when women who were like their kids went through suicide and they didn't understand, they never had a conversation with them they were having, conversations with me because I was talking about my anxiety, I was talking about depression, I was talking about suicidal thoughts. And so I was starting to have these conversations with everyone on this blog, on my blog. And what I did was take my whole blog and then made it into the book, because at first that's what I seen in my dream that I needed to put in the book. And that allowed me to have the confidence to actually make my book myself. I designed it myself. I did my cover. I wrote it with another editor to go through and like make sure everything was good and spelled right and grammar and everything. But it's on Amazon. I put it on Amazon myself. So yeah, it's amazing like when that download comes and you become obedient and curious and really start to dive deep versus ignoring it,
Yeah.
which I have done in the past when I was really young, like 17, 18. I
Oh wow.
remember, yeah, I read back in my journal where I was not obedient and I did not go into my spiritual path at a younger age. So it came back around and then that's when I did it.
And that's probably why you make your karmic then, to make you understand you have to do this.
Oh, yeah. Yes, 100%.
That's I love your story. It kind of relates to mine.
Mhm.
The second question says, why did you choose to start your business? Which I think you answered prior to
The
that.
pandemic. Hmm.
And how did you come up with the idea of your business? You talked about that too, right? Yeah. What has been your biggest challenge to date? To date?
Mhm.
What has
Yes.
been your biggest challenge to date? Yeah.
So my biggest challenge so far has been the when this peaked, it is great. I'm making thousands of dollars, customers is coming in, I'm packaging, I am moving like crazy. And then when it's low, it is quiet, it is dead. And that's when the doubt and those negative self-talk comes in and you start to doubt yourself because it's much different than working for someone else. You know, if you punch that clock, no matter what, you're going to get a check at the end of the week. When it comes to your business, you can punch that clock and you might not get that return right away. So it really is peaks and valleys. So the challenge is to shift your mindset from a worker's mindset to a business mindset. I've learned to sit on my cash longer. And when I really do spend my money, I honestly do not spend my money on material things. I reinvest my money so I can flip it and make more. And so that's a different mindset versus you working, because when you work, you're like, I worked all this time, 40 hours a week. I should treat myself after I pay my expenses. And that's a different mindset when you're a business owner. You should reinvest your money so that you can make more money after your expenses. So that has been my challenge. And that is my solution for when you're in that space.
I like that. That's true. That's true. I've been also putting myself in this mindset, like how can I invest even the $50 that I have in my pocket to make it $100? So like
Yep.
yesterday, I'm doing DoorDash and stuff on the side to make
Nice.
money, and I took a $20 bill out of my wallet and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna put that in the gas today. And then I'm gonna
Mhm.
go do a DoorDash and I'm gonna flip that $20 into 100 something dollars. And that's what I did.
Perfect. That's the
That was
best
like my
mindset to have.
mindset was already like, how can I double that $20 that I have actually in my hand? Which I
Yes.
like that mindset.
Mhm.
Um, how you ever felt have you ever felt like giving up?
Of course, like I have those thoughts for sure. And then when I'm meditating, I always get a download telling me to like, nope, don't doubt me, like put your faith in me, put your faith in yourself. This is what you're meant to do and don't doubt yourself. So when I find meditating is great for me to quiet my mind, for me to well, no, not necessarily quiet my mind, but not attached to negative self-talk. And then for me, it's allowed me to have the space for the downloads and that words of encouragement from God, my ancestors, from my higher self. I have to always rebuttal that negative self talk. And actually, that practice actually started from self. just from my own insecurities when I was going through my path. And I had to really tackle that negative self talk. It's no different from business. Everything that you go through in your personal, it is tied to how you run your business, because the personal development aspect is extremely important. It is what's going to make you a boss, it is what's going to make you longevity, or you're going to give up. um, and so I have to also be conscious about my expectations. That's a big thing as well. When people hit big, I've learned in while listening to so many interviews, they didn't know it was gonna come out the way it came out for them. So what if they quit? It would have never been a Steve Jobs. It would never be a Gary Vee. It would never be anyone. I mean, even listen to Dame Dash, 50 Cent. Like I listen to so many aspects of business interviews, and they all said like if I quit, and I would have never got here, and I didn't even know it was going to come out this way. So I just kept grinding. So I also turn to those interviews for words of encouragement for people who already are far exceeded me as well, and that helps a lot.
I do agree with that. I do agree. I feel like this is why I've been self down myself, because everything in your personal will come out to every single aspect of your life. And I feel like this is why healing is so important. Oh my goodness.
Yes,
Um,
100%.
what has been your biggest mistake in business?
Um, My biggest mistake in business, I would say I'm gonna go a little bit further back than this business because actually I started working for myself since I was 11. I used to be a graphic designer, like I used to make websites.
Oh my
And
God. I was gonna go to college for graphic design, but I felt like I wanted something more. So I just went for entrepreneurship. But my first choice was graphic designing.
oh, that's so cool. So I actually have a degree in graphic design too, but I started when I was like 10, 11. And then I made a website for my friend. He was a dirt bike rider. And then someone named Ron Cook Barnett in Albany, he saw the website and he asked me to redo his gang prevention website. And he sent me home. I was like literally 12 years old. He sent me home like figure out how to make an invoice and a contract so I can pay you versus paying a company who did my website prior. I didn't like it. So that was my first client. And then since 12, like I've been building websites for people since till I was 25. And I think that's the one of my biggest mistakes was that I didn't put myself out there when I was younger. I didn't necessarily believe in myself, not in believe in myself as a graphic designer. And here comes that interpersonal. I played small because I had social anxiety. And so I didn't network like that. I didn't go introduce myself to people. I didn't walk into businesses and put myself out there as I do today. And that's why the personal development aspect is so important. And that's the one thing that people do not teach enough in the business world is that you have to not be shy and introvert in those times. Those times you need to be confident in yourself. You need to go in and say, hello, I'm Siedah. This is my portfolio. I would love to work with you, and pitch to them on why they should hire you versus someone else, and be confident in that. So that was my biggest mistake because I've even made websites for $5,000 at a time. And so I could have made so much money if I just would have put myself out there. But that's why I went through this phase. And now that's not a mistake I make any longer. So that was huge.
Right, because people will open doors for you more than degrees will ever will. And I felt that. I
Yeah.
definitely felt that. And that's why I feel like networking is so important. Like just being as a community with everyone around you. That's why
Hmm.
if I know someone else, I will introduce it to my friend and make sure hey, this is, get to know each other.
Oh, yes.
I make sure
Networking
that,
is so
yeah.
important. Oh my God. And that's something that's never stopped. It's just grown more due to social media, and but it's
I heard
always
that
been there.
social media is the new way of making money. Like there's people
Oh,
like
yeah.
doing Airbnbs. I was thinking about doing Airbnb as well, but I don't know. Like, it's scary, this social media thing.
It is. It's scary in a way, and it's also a little exciting. Like I even
Exciting
shipped.
and scary.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I shipped to California. I've shipped out of the country to UK. I've shipped to Canada. So it's nice because I get to really connect with people all over the world. And the only thing is, when you're in the business world, it's not as scary versus the personal aspect.
Right.
So I try to really dive myself more into the business aspect. It's definitely better, and as long as you have a contract, it's important for everything. But yeah, it's a it's a little bit tough because of how social media is. Like you have to abide by their rules and algorithm and like flow with them. So as business owners, we've learned certain things like building our own email list so that we can get our followers like in our pot, on something that we own versus keeping them on social media, which we do not own. So yeah, it's a great tool. You have to use it in every business for you to succeed, because print is not the way it used to be. So you got to jump on that bandwagon if you want those, millions. Yeah, you want that
Yeah.
money. You gotta jump on that, and faster, because it is much faster once you learn, how to utilize the system to benefit your business. It's
Yeah.
definitely much faster.
Okay, so another question. If you were starting again, what would you do differently?
If I was starting again, what I would do differently is, the big thing is video. That's what I did for this business versus my last business. I actually did lives, and I was on a few lives with other girls because I hate being on live by myself. And we would like jump, bounce back and forth on the topic of self love, and really diving into specific things like body image, etc. And by me doing the lives, that's why last year my sales were a hit, because people knew, like, and trust me so online, and that's very important. Um, and I would do what I've been doing this business, which I didn't do my last business, was I do vendor events. So I actually go to local events. I network with other vendors. And I love that because you actually build no like and trust very instantly at a table. Then you have to do online. Online, you got to like be and interact with that person at least like 5 to 7 times before they trust you enough to buy from you. When you're at a table in person, because it's human on human, they are there and they will trust to give you their money, and they can see the product, they can smell it, they can use all their senses. Um, and that's been important. And I've been networking with other vendors and other businesses this time around. So I'm starting to be known in my community. So now when I'm at events, people are like, oh, I saw you here in Amsterdam, and I seen you in Schenectady, and I seen you here. So really putting yourself out there is so important. And the lastly, dream big. Like, don't let anything or anyone or even yourself talk you out of something. Like, I have my stuff in stores now, my own candles. I've been working with other businesses and designing candles for them for their store. If you asked me last year if I would have done this, I'd be like, no, not at all. But it came to my brain, and I went out and I figured out how to do it, and I did it. So, and I don't know how far I'm gonna go with this. I mean, in my brain, I'm like, I want to have like a big old manufacturing company. I want to sell candle supplies, plus my candles.
Like at Home
Um,
Goods and stuff. That.
Yes, like, oh my God, yeah. So I want to be in Target. That's my biggest thing. I signed up for their accelerator program for next year. So I'm hoping I get into that because it's an 8-week program that really helps you guide into that aspect. But yeah, I'm dreaming big. So I'm like, I'm gonna put myself out there. If you
Keep
say
dreaming
no,
big. You will get
it,
there. Because
yes, and
that's
you
part
just
of
keep knocking.
manifestation. I swear to God, you could do anything if you keep telling your mind. And actually, when it comes to manifestation, I started to see that repeating it 3 times in your head like will work. So like if you wake up every day and repeat it, like let's say I want my candles to be at Target. I want my candles to be at Target like 3 times, it will work. And that's the
Yes.
law of attraction. And I really started doing it so good. And I'm like, yes, I got this.
And for me, since I'm a generator profile for my personality, for manifesting, I have to not only set the tone for it, but then when the opportunities come for me to take action, I have to take action. So that's the only shift for me because I'm not a generating manifester. You got to check that out. But I found out I'm a generator, so then I've realized that that's why how am I supposed to how I have to manifest. So like me saying I wanted my stuff in stores, and then it just so happens that like these three stores came up. And so I went in and I pitched myself and I got 2 out of 3. And it was like, oh, okay. So I have to take action as soon as the opportunity come, and then my
Right.
manifestation will manifest. And then like so that would have been awesome.
I like that. And last thing, I wanted to go to that event, Mind, Body, and Soul.
Yeah.
I didn't go because it was kind of far and I didn't
Oh
have
yeah.
a car or anything. But I was so upset when I didn't go. But I was really looking forward to.
It was cool. Let me know any other time because like I don't have no problem. Like I'll definitely take you. And I'm definitely signing up for next year. It was pretty cool. Um and let me know too. I'll let you know as well when I come to Troy. Because
I'm
I'm
in
open.
Albany right now. I live in
Oh,
Albany.
awesome. Oh,
Yeah.
cool. Me too. I'm downtown Albany, but I plan on doing a few more events. I'm trying to see how I can book after Black Friday ends and in December. But yeah, I definitely have to get you on my email list because I always like email
I'll
it out.
come, girl. I'll show my support. I will buy. I'll do anything, you know.
Yeah, you can come chill and everything. That would be great. And then that way
Yeah.
you can like go talk to other vendors and stuff like
Yes,
that. And like they are so open and they'll like talk to you about their business and what works, what don't work and stuff like that. So it'll be really cool.
I like that. They're giving me more confidence.
Yeah. It's so
Another question. What business achievement are you most proud of?
Um, I am most proud of, honestly, I'm most proud of me not giving up. That is huge. Like all these things that's been happening, these little milestones, like me writing my first book and me getting into a store and me actually producing things for other stores, they have been so great. Um, but I think the biggest thing for me in this type of world today, especially with like, there's no entrepreneurs in my family, there's no business owners in my family. So a lot of people in my family are like, no, go get a 9 to 5, go get a state job, 401k. Like, I'm like, no, I want to own my own business. I've been working for myself since I was 11. Like, I never worked for anyone consistently throughout my life longer than a year because I just I want to run their business. Like once I get in, I'm
Yeah,
like, I want to this how you should do this. I'm like sitting with the CEO of every company and talking to them because that's what I'm born to do. So for me personally, it's just never giving up through the all the adversity that comes my way. That's the hardest part because it's not always a whole bunch of people all the time rooting for you when until you succeed and have hit a milestone and then they're like, oh yay. But when you were struggling to do it, no one's like, you got this, you know? So that has honestly been my biggest achievement, and that's something that's like gonna stay with me um for many more little milestones that I hit or big milestones that I hit. Is just keep believing in myself is my greatest achievement.
right. I definitely feel that, especially me when it comes to family too. A nine
Mhm.
to five, go to college, get yourself a job, then you know what I'm saying, get a house and then die, like that's the thing. And I'm like, no, there's more to that. And
Yes.
little I had a super huge dream. I seen myself in front of a big building, but I
Mhm.
knew it was not a house. It's not a house. It's just a huge building. And since little, I always had that image in my head. And I feel like that's important. Never giving up. Never,
Yes.
never giving up. I
Yes.
agree. Who is your biggest supporter?
My biggest supporter is my sister. My younger sister is, and my older sister. They're both my bigger supporters. My older sister, she does vending. She always like she's been tapping into her entrepreneur side
She
for
does
the
vending
past few
machines.
years. Yes, so she
Oh
does
wow. I have a
not vending
business
machines.
idea.
Oh, well, my sister, my little younger sister is actually I'm inspiring her. She wants to own a few vending machines, so she's looking into that.
Me too, yeah.
Um and my older sister, she sells like dog supplies and clothes and things like that. And at
I
first she
might have
started
to
doing
buy for
that.
my dog.
Oh yes, yes, she got everything. I mean, everything. So she's like, they both have been helping me differently. So like my older sister helps me with like finding events locally and stuff like that. And little opportunities that come through. She's always make sure I'm in her network. And then my younger sister will literally be here packaging, helping me with candles and stuff like that, pushing my stuff out. She'll go to events with me and stuff like that. So those two have been extremely important um, as far as my family. I've had so many strangers literally support me. I mean, there's a handful of women that I'm sending like holiday gifts to because since day one of my business, they have made videos, they made photos, they wrote reviews, they pushed me on social media, and like I never met them at all in person. So that has been, and I learned from them through my lives what I used to do and stuff like that, my little interviews. So they have been extremely supportive as well through this journey. So yeah, yeah, definitely grateful.
Great. Sisterhood is so important.
Oh
I
yes.
agree. I have a little one myself. She
Oh,
she's been heads in the clouds, but hopefully she's gonna get come back.
oh yeah, they do. We all go through the phase.
Yeah. Who do you go to for business advice?
Actually, I go to no one for business advice. What I do is I actually
For
listen to
that.
a whole bunch of interviews. So people who inspire me, Dame Dash inspires me. Honestly, I listen to 50 Cent, his interviews as well when it comes to business. Um, when also I listen to a lot of Meek Mills. So music in that aspect of really chasing your dreams, never giving up. Who cares where you've been from? It's about where you're going. Mindset. I do listen to like other like real estate agents who get on and talk about money and finances. Um, I've been learning a lot about when I hit a certain bracket, what to do, where to put my money and stuff like that. Yeah, just keeping my thumb on everything that's going on. Gary Vee is huge. He's very pinnacle. He's also a Scorpio, and what I love about him and Dame, because Dame is a Taurus, is that they just give it to you real raw, like
I love
real.
that. I need some raw advice because I don't like going around the pot. I just want the
Oh, he's
point.
selling. Yes, and don't be pushing that whole just love, love, light thing. Like where
No.
Gary will tell you, like you need to sit here and really be posting 3 to 5 times a day, like or at least 1 to 3 times a day. But I know
Yeah,
you're not gonna do it.
I've been on that. I've been trying to read like different books, especially when it comes to spirituality. I've been reading the Metu Nature, something like that, which yeah, it talks about the difference between the Western
Mm-hmm.
and the Kemetic
Oh,
teaching.
okay. Oh, I got
So
you. Gotta share that with me. I need that. That would be
yeah,
awesome.
I will send you the book, but it really it goes in details like when it comes to the brain, when it comes to like religion and everything. Like
Mhm,
it just opened my mind up so much to what's going on right now. And I was like,
mhm.
thank you, I needed that. And I've been reading this too, which is called Seven Habits of Effective People.
Oh, I have heard of that one. Okay,
I'm
how's
not
it?
done yet. I literally
Mhm,
just started. I'm gonna see
mhm,
how this goes, but
mhm.
like it shows like little techniques, like I guess about self like reflection
Oh, nice.
and like little things like that. So I have to go through that, and I've been
Mhm.
on trying to reading every single day.
I have to send you quite a few books. The Four Agreements was very pinnacle
The
for
Four
me.
Agreements, that one was powerful.
I
And
loved it.
The Outwitting of the Devil.
Oh, I haven't read that one.
Oh my God, you have to.
Oh,
It's so important. Like, it helped me out with everything in my life. Like, they talk about the shifting and the
mhm,
non-shifting. So let's say you go through something in your life
mhm.
and your emotion gets to the best of you, or you might mess with someone that's not good for you. And
Yep.
then your brain will literally pick up on what that book said. And one day I was messing with someone I shouldn't have, and my brain said, "You are shifting," from that book. And from there, I caught myself. I'm like, I'm not gonna shift. I'm not gonna shift. I'm not gonna shift. Like, it talks about shifting in the wrong way. Like when you
Is it
see
energy?
someone, huh?
Is it energy transformation, like when you go around somebody's energy, or more of shifting as far as like you're going outside of your natural state of
Outside of going your
being?
natural state. I
Gotcha.
didn't read the full book, but I got the little principles. I gotta finish that. Oh my
I
God,
love
you're making
that.
me
I
want to
still
read.
have some books in here I have to finish too, but I'll definitely share some with you because I have some business books and also some spiritual books that have really, really transformed the way I
You have
think.
to put me on. I'll send
I
you
got
some,
you.
and you gotta send me
Yes.
some.
I'll definitely do that afterwards for sure.
Yeah.
That'll be awesome.
Another question. It says, "What advice do you have for an entrepreneur starting out today?"
Um, Biggest thing is to figure out what you're passionate about. Not to just start a business because of money. Chasing money will never get you anywhere but you quitting when you're not making the amount that you want to make. So it's about passion, number one. Second, to deal with the personal issues that you have within yourself and your confidence and your self-worth, because if not, you're not going to put yourself out there, and you're not going to talk about your business and what it is or your service that you provide confidently. So that's extremely important. And then another thing is for you to do things in a way that capitalize on your strengths. Too many people are going to be out here, and now that we have platforms like TikTok and YouTube, are they're getting on and they're, oh, I'm, sound like they're the guru. This is the way of being, and this is the way of going, and this is why I like Gary Vee, because Gary Vee will tell you you don't have to do video by showing your face if that's not necessarily something that really appeals to, or you're not a talker. Maybe you're a writer. You can do videos writing. You can post with content. You can do blogs. You can do many different things to just really capitalize on your strengths, versus somebody will get on and says, if you're not doing video, then you're crazy. Like, you're not going to make any money. And it's like, that's not necessarily the way to be, because if you look awkward on camera and you're not comfortable, and as much as you practice you don't get better, and you're not good with public speaking, then that's not what you should be doing. You should capitalize on your strengths. So having a mentor or following someone who is pushing you to be your greatest, and but not necessarily putting you in a box, is the best person to actually listen to when you're on social media, because too many people are the go-to gurus telling you how it should be one way.
Yeah.
And you really need to listen to your intuition as well. It's very important that don't doubt your intuition when it speaks. Try it out. If you fail, it's just a lesson of what not to do, and now you have to go on to the next hunch, the next risk, try something else, modify it a little bit, figure it out. That's what it's all about, is just figuring out what works for you.
Right. What's the best advice you've been given?
Um, hmm. The best advice I've been given. Honestly, it's so funny, like in my circle, and that's the biggest reason why I kind of want to move out of my hometown. It's like no one really giving me advice on things. So this type of advice is going to be from something I actually read, actually in the Four Agreements. The best advice was for me not to take things personally.
I'm so glad you said this because I read this part of the book, and once I read this, I shed a tear because I'm like, Okay, this is my biggest challenge. I'm so sensitive. Like I show as I'm big and brolic and do not care, but really deep within myself, I'm so sensitive. And it's like anything that you would tell me, I would take it personally. And then here I am crying on my own. Like, so I
Yes,
had to
me
take
too.
that advice to the
Oh my God,
fullest.
100%. That was me too. Yes. Scorpios, we do not like if you I my daughter's a Pisces, my niece is a
Oh,
Cancer.
Pisces.
Yes, all my sisters are Pisces.
Oh,
Like when they'll sit there and like literally show everything and I'm like I feel you, but
that's why Aquarius we kind of the same because Aquarius comes after Pisces, so you will see my face all the way. So
yes.
yeah,
Yes, you'll get very emotional. And once you're in that space, it's hard for you to turn it off. Before a Scorpio, it's like, no, we're gonna shut it off. And then when we get alone, that's when we'll do it. And so I've learned for me too, because I'm so sensitive and people don't really realize that because I have like I can detach. Like I have Aquarius rising, so I can
oh
detach.
well, yeah,
I can detach easily. And it's like you will not see at all what it is I'm thinking. That's really difficult for people who come around me because they think I'm very aloof and
yeah,
they don't think I feel anything. And because I'm a Scorpio, I feel things very deeply and
yeah,
I'm very sensitive and I think about it way deeper than a person is thinking about things. So for me, when I read that part of the book of, don't take things personally in business and in personal, because especially in business, um, it's not personal when it's in business. It can be depending on who you're doing business with, but it's just better to see things in black and white when it comes into business. In personal, it can get a little bit in the gray area, but I try to look at everything now from a point of view of what can I learn from this situation?
yeah,
What can I take from this situation? And then I listen to my gut a lot. So before I used to use my head with everything, and I've learned to depend on my gut. If my gut says I'm not doing business with this person, I'm not doing business with this person. If it says I need to leave, I need to go, I need to go. If it says I need to sit still, I need to sit still. And I've learned to really trust myself. And that's been extremely important. So that's why, like, if something happens to me or someone says something to me, I don't take it personally because I've learned that it's that person's perspective in their world and their experiences that allows them to say what they said or did what they did. I see things differently, so I'm like, okay, that's good for you, but in this world, I'm seeing it this way. I'm gonna move this way,
right.
and that's what helped me with that book. That helped me tremendously for my
Yeah,
life.
I definitely relate because I'm going through the same thing, learning that right now, which is
Mhm.
hard.
Yeah.
How do you handle tough business decisions?
Um. So one, yes, definitely my going with my gut. Second, um, I weigh out pros and cons. Um, I also don't rush myself. I've been in a very tough decision where I was actually going to start a store, open a store just a few months ago, and
You have a
and
store yet?
nope, I don't have a storefront. And honestly, I'm so happy I don't. What I did was actually I am in J Street Collective on consignment for 6 months. So my products are in the store, but I don't run the store. I didn't put any money besides my little rent for my little section. And what I've learned from that experience is that store, it's slower. It's much slower than online. It's much slower than going to an event or a craft show and selling your products. Um, so this experience has told me that I honestly do not want a storefront at all. I also do not want to be at that storefront for 6 to 8 hours a day. I want more I like the flexibility of how my business is run right now. I make my hours. I don't have to show up um, at a certain amount of time. So at a certain time for a certain amount of time. So um, it has helped me tremendously by taking baby steps and dipping my toe into things and doing more research.
Research.
Research is so, so, so important. Of
Research.
course, Yes, like experience is great. Experience is the best lesson learner for anything. But I've realized that by doing research on storefronts, it helped me with like, no, I'm not gonna do that right now. I pulled out of a situation. Well, God really got me out of this one situation of opening a storefront with someone else. And since then, I've been offered to partner with someone to do another store, but I said no, because I just have to figure. For me, I know now what I want as far as like my life and not being bogged down. And I don't. That's just to me just reminds me of a 9 to 5. Like
Right,
a store is open certain amount of times for like 6 days a week, 7 days a week. Like no, I don't want that life. So really figuring out who you are, what you want, and then fitting in that will help you with decision
right.
making.
Actually, I've been thinking about the Yoni Steaming business and
Mhm,
waxing all at
mhm,
once, and I don't know yet. So I was thinking about opening a little spa in
mhm,
Albany, but
mhm.
yeah, I don't know if it will pop like that. So
Let me send you a business who she has it. I think either it's in Troy. She just opened it not too long ago, I think through the COVID, but it might be good to just sit down to just like interview her in this type of way.
right.
So just for yourself of asking those type of questions and stuff like that, seeing you know
What
what
does she do?
she does. Yoni steaming, she does
Oh, really?
facials, she does waxing, so it would be perfect.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
I gotta talk to her because before I already had this idea, but I had to do my research and stuff. So I went on Google and I tried to look up Yoni steaming around here and it was none. So I was like, okay, maybe it will really work and pop for me. And I seen there were some in Poughkeepsie and stuff, but not in Albany. So I'm like, okay.
No, she's in Troy too, and I found her on Instagram, so it might not be anyone in Albany at all.
You're gonna have to give me her name so I
I
have
will. I'll send it to you for sure.
I like that. Last question. Oh no, we have a couple more.
Okay.
Oh yeah, we have a couple more. Yeah, yeah. What's next for you and your business?
Right now I'm just focusing on partnering with more small businesses. I really love wholesale, um, because it's like really bulk. And I'm hoping I'm getting into the Target Accelerator program because that program actually works with you for 8 weeks to help you with all that aspect of getting into a much more bigger supply chain. So I'm really hoping I get into this program so that I don't know if everyone goes into Target after the program is complete, but just having that information and that training would be amazing. So fingers crossed on that because really I do want to get into Target. I would love to. And I've been talking to another store chain um, about doing testers into 25 stores. So I'm really, really, really hoping I get that. And that's where I'm at right now is just getting those accounts.
Right. That's great. I really hope that you're gonna do it, and I know you will. What was the source of your capital? How did you get it?
So what I did was actually I started with my savings. I
Right. I've been
invested
trying
in
to save money because I feel like I'm in business school right now, and they talk about, money is not a problem. You could go to investors, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, do I really want to take somebody else's money just to give it back later?
yeah, and with
I
plus
don't think
interest.
so. Plus,
So
so I'm saving up right now to make my dream come true based on my own hard work and money.
yes, because you can start small. Like right now, I'm in my home. So, and I want to be in my home honestly as long as possible. And so for me, even when I'm thinking about buying a home, I'm thinking about buying a home with space so I can stay home as long as I can. Um, I started with my savings. Of course, I dabbled into my credit cards, and then paid them off once the investment turned around. Then what happens after a few months? Shopify gives you capital. Um, And so I tap into that, and then they take it out automatically when your sales come in until you pay up, and then when you get paid up almost more than halfway, they'll pitch you like another loan or whatever. And that has been cool. I like that aspect of it. I have had one investor, one of my friends, invested in my business. But I don't like that aspect of it, of someone investing in my business. Even though we had a contract and everything else, it just can get very tough in that aspect because sometimes money isn't flipped as fast. So for me, I love it this way of me taking my money and me reinvesting into myself. No one else is pressuring me. No one else is asking me what's your, what's your bottom line this month? What's your goal this month? I don't have to deal with all that extra stuff. I
Right.
start small. I started really small. I invested like $300 to $500 into my business. And that's for everything. So I just stayed on budget and flipped it. And so since then I've been making pretty good money where I didn't have to like literally be on a 9 to 5. I did go to part-time for quite a while. Once I did start working at the end of um last year. I'm transitioned from full time to part time. Um, and then I just quit part time like a few months ago because I can't manage everything that I got going on and and be that type of schedule. Like it has to be way more flexible. So yeah, I say start very small. Like even if you have an apartment and you can just move, I moved everything out of my living room. My candle studio is my living room and start like that. Like
Right. That's what I
that's
was
how.
thinking about doing. I was thinking about even starting with online business, and
Mhm.
whatever money I make from that, I could invest into like a vending machine business, and then that would be doubled. Then the money in, and then I could invest into like an Airbnb. Like I just feel like it's a puzzle. You know,
Yep.
that's how I see in my brain. That's literally a puzzle. Like I
Yes, it
don't feel
is.
like you need anyone. There's so much money out here, to be
Oh
honest.
yeah.
So much
Yeah.
money that I don't feel like a grant or like a loan or investors will be necessary.
Anybody who's in business who's making millions of dollars, they will tell you start in your house. They'll tell you like start in your house, make it small. You can do a digital product. I sell ebooks, I sell books, I sell
How's that
physical
going?
products.
Digital products, because I heard about that, but I really don't have any knowledge when it comes to
Oh, and it's so crazy. You'd be surprised of what you do know. For me, like first I have my self-love book that's in a physical book paperback and also an ebook. So I've definitely been selling ebooks since day one. That's just literally helping people on their journey. And then I also have business ebooks. And it's just about marketing it. And making sure that you set yourself up as the person with that expertise. Like you have to speak on those topics pretty often so that someone will, of course, buy it. I've been finding that the physical products have been the easiest to push than digital products, but I digital products is the easiest to deliver because you don't have to make it, you don't have to package it, you don't have all those expenses. Once you make it one time, it's made and you can just sell it. So I've been really focusing on learning how to do ads. Um, and so that way I can really capitalize on that because I love when a sale comes through and it's an ebook and it's like I don't have to do nothing but push fulfilled and
yeah,
the money's in my account. Like
right,
versus me selling a candle or a book, I gotta package it and make the label and print everything and also and go to the post office. It's so much other stuff that you have to do with a physical product. So I'm honestly gonna say that'll be the best way to do is like sell some knowledge. So figure it out of like it could be even for college kids, how
right,
to study, how to do this or how to do that. That's all people care about is like how do you make my life easier? Um, and they will buy
right. I just wrote this down because that's interesting.
it.
Um, what were your reasons in becoming an entrepreneur?
um it was just natural for me at a very young age to create, firstly, because I was a graphic designer. I first started with painting and sculpting and stuff like that, and then I moved into digital and started designing things all the time. Like back when it was like Bow Wow and B2K and all that, I made little fan websites and stuff like that. So I just loved creating. And because I got into working with clients way before I got into the working field, it it was something that I loved because the flexibility, to be able to wear many hats, to be able to run my business the way I wanted to run my business. Um, when I started getting working for other people, I just was like, I can see all these little holes in your whole system, and I just want to patch them up. Like, why is
Mhm.
no one fixing these holes to make business better? And so yeah, that it's just been. I was born with it in my genes. It's just how I am wired.
I feel that. Where did you come up with the concept of your business?
That was actually the people, because like from my friends and my family really wanting me to um help them with finding crystals and saging, and me going to their house and helping them sage and stuff like that, like through the beginning of COVID. It was just a idea. I was like, I should just do this. Like I should just sell it myself. Like you can buy it from me. And I just started it. So it was really other people help needing me for something helped me develop this business.
Right. Um, what was the biggest hurdle you faced when you were starting out? What was your biggest obstacle so far?
Starting out, my biggest hurdle was, I would say the biggest thing is figuring out what the market wants is so huge. So I was a one-stop shop. So I was selling way too much. I was selling crystals, crystal jewelry, natural soaps, crystal candles, my books, everything, like, and all I reflect back on even like things like people videos and stuff like that people made, and it was just like, oh yes, like she's a one-stop shop. It was way too much to manage by myself, to for inventory, everything else, like counting everything, making sure I have everything. It was just too much. So what I did was I looked at my reporting, and I looked at what was the top sellers, and thank God my book was one of the top sellers, and then crystal candles were one of my top sellers, and they both have a great profit margin. So I was like, perfect. Unfortunately, now I have to shift my business, and I'm going to just focus on those two things. Of course, my advice to everybody is to just start with one thing. Don't try to do multiple different products or
You're
services.
helping me out so much with this.
Yeah, that was my biggest lesson.
You're
It
helping
was
me out
not.
so much because, like, I have like 5 pages of business ideas and
Yeah.
products and like so much in my brain that it's just like I'm getting overwhelmed and I'm like, how am I gonna do this?
You're gonna get so overwhelmed if you do it
I'm
too. So
feeling overwhelmed just thinking about it, so I can't even imagine doing it. Like,
I was so overwhelmed. And I had to be honest with myself. Like, this is overwhelming. Um, and it was great because the money, because like people want different things. So the
right, I
money
was
was
thinking
flowing.
that, like the flexibility to the
Yeah,
customers and
it
stuff.
is. It is, but it's way too much for one person to deal with. So what I did was pull back, and I focused in on that. Now, did my sales go slower online? Yes, because people who wanted soaps or people who wanted jewelry is not there anymore. But however, it did not go slow with anything else, and that's why I started going into stores, and I started to team up with stores, because now that I'm so targeted, that it actually opens up way more. Now, if I start, like, once I start building, and let's say like I'm starting to hire people, I can always start selling jewelry again and start selling certain things again. Like, but then I'll have people working for me, helping me package everything, and there's way more revenue coming in consistently to offset all those costs, and to keep track of everything. So that's the last thing you want someone to do, is like someone asks you for something and you don't have it. You know what I mean? Because that something slipped from you because someone hasn't bought it in like 3 weeks. So I didn't know I'm out of soap and like it takes 2 weeks to get it. So I was like, yeah, this is not gonna work. I'm just gonna hone in and focus, and then I'm gonna do more as I progress. Um, so baby steps is very very important to master something um, versus just being amateur at many things.
Right. And it says, what steps did you take to come up with the solution?
And for me, I almost dabbled it in a little bit, but it was really me being honest with myself. I had to go in and delete all of like the old stuff like from my website. And what I did was I actually booked vendor events and sold all my products because I was sitting on so much. So it was nice because when you go on and I can book, I booked like literally it was Juneteenth was my first event, and one other event because I almost sold out on Juneteenth. So I did literally only had to take two events for me to make, and from that, I think it was like $2,600 I made from them two events,
Wow.
and I was like, okay, perfect. Now all I have is like a few little items, and I can always give it away as like a little gift with your package. And I took that money and flipped it into just crystal candles. And then I revised my whole website. And now you see mostly crystal candles and you see books and journals and ebooks. And so I really focused in on that. And yeah, and just started promoting online. Like, sorry, I'm just the go to person for crystal candles. Like, that's my focus.
Right. Okay. If there is anything that you could change in your business or in yourself as an entrepreneur, what would be it and why?
Um, if there's anything I can change, oh my gosh, well, it has to be one thing. There's so many things. um, the biggest thing for me is money management is so huge.
Money management. I'm trying to work on it and I don't even have a business.
It is so important.
Yes.
It's just like I've been really practicing on this small scale because they say like if you aren't good in this scale, you're not going to be good when you get a lot. So I've been very conscious of that. And that's why I've been listening to a lot of real estate agents interviews on TikTok and stuff like that.
Do you think
Um,
you ever want to do real estate?
oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I do. I don't know 100% where I want to go with it.
Right.
I know I don't want a mortgage. I don't want a 30-year lock in. My mother bought her house herself like with a small loan, and then she paid off the loan and very
I
quickly.
heard there's so many Airbnb business and how they do it is that they will pay monthly on the
Mhm.
apartment and then like whatever money they make.
Yes. And the only thing about that though is you have to have good marketing because Airbnb is not like a rental where someone is locked in on contract for 12 months. So if you're not flipping that, you're losing money. And
Definitely.
so that is a little risky if you don't know marketing well and for you to push that Airbnb out. Um, just like it's a little risky of being a homeowner because of all the expenses that you acquire, and then you being like a landlord because all the expenses that you acquire, if something happens, you have to have that emergency fund to like tap into to fix anything or replace something. So I've been really researching and talking to homeowners and trying to do the pros and cons of everything before I make that move necessarily. And also I'm like very much of a it goes all back to yourself. Honestly, the way you move and the way you think and the way you want to do things.
Definitely.
Um because what's good for someone else might not be good for you. What's easy for someone else might not be easy for you.
Yeah.
So I've been like just dabbling in that type of aspect of real estate. And there's so many ways you can go through it. You can even like tap into their stock market in that sense, or just partner with someone who owns a building. So it's like multiple partners who owns this building. I might do that. You know what I mean? Because then I'm not the sole person who owns something. So yeah, I've been thinking about it. And once I get like this certain amount of money, I want to start investing in real estate. I think that's the way it's never gonna die off. You know what I mean? Like everyone owning commercial property, it's always gonna be here. So I don't see it being a big risk of me investing in that versus like a stock market can be up one year and be down the next.
Right.
So
Yeah.
yeah, real estate will always be here.
Is there anything that you could change in your business? Well, we talked about that. If there would ever be the best advice to give for budding entrepreneurs, what would it be?
Um, I'll say it one more time. If there was any advice
If
for
there will be, if there would ever be the best advice to give for budding entrepreneurs, what would it be? What budding means?
hmm, um, yeah, what is budding?
I better look it up.
Yeah, let's look it up real quick.
Having or developing, becoming larger as a
Ah,
part of the process of normal growth. So I guess becoming larger.
scaling. Yeah, scaling up.
It will ever be the best advice to
To give
give
someone who
to
wants like
become
scale.
bigger as an entrepreneur. What would it be?
Um, Timing is everything.
Timing.
Um, Timing is everything. Uh, and staying in your lane too. Those two things is like a nice little dance. Um, I've also listened to a lot of entrepreneurs who and business owners who will be like, somebody said you will make a lot of money if you did this and did that.
I don't
If
think it's true.
and is that and everybody always gonna give you advice. Everyone's gonna you're gonna find like people are gonna come to you and they see your potential, see how they can like benefit off of you and everything, and they'll be like somebody coming to me saying like let's partner up to do a store, and I'm like no, no, that's not what I want. Sorry, but I wish you luck with that, and I thank you for thinking of me. You know what I mean? It's it staying in my lane, knowing what it is I want and not budging on it is so important. Um, and I learned that from my own personal relationships of knowing what I want and sticking to it. And I can be flexible in certain things if I feel like it's worth the risk. But if I know what I want, this is what it is. And timing is important. If you don't have enough funds to make that investment, don't do it. Do not make the move. When you have enough funds, then or you've done enough research to know that what your return on investment is going to be, and it's going to be worth it, then make it. Of course, you're not going to be able to hit every single nail on the head with that. A lot of stuff in business is risk because you can book an event and go there and you can make $200, or you can book an event and walk away with $3,000 to $5,000. You don't know because it depends on who's there and your product and so many factors. Just like when it comes to running an ad, you can run an ad and don't make no money, and you can run an ad and make hundreds and thousands of dollars. It depends on who's seeing the ad and if they wanted to make the purchase at that time, etc. So it's just like it's really good also to know your product, and if you are selling a product specifically, knowing where you get that supplier is important. Having a relationship with your supplier is important because say you did run an ad and it turns out one ad this week was 10 sales. Well, next month you ran another ad. Now you got 2,000 sales. How
Mm.
are you going to fulfill that without a whole bunch of chargebacks? Because people are mad that they have to wait weeks from something that you bought in China. And so that's not going to work. So you have to have a good relationship with your supplier so that you can fulfill um, when it's a high volume order. So That's it's a dance, it's a puzzle, like you said. Like business is all about a puzzle.
Yeah.
And I think it just starts with you, and that's one thing that is not talked about enough in business. It's all talked about, the social media part, design part, content part, all that supplier money part. But honestly, that's the easy part. The easy part is that it's you that would be the difficult part.
I
You're
totally agree. I totally agree. And I came to that conclusion on my own without school or anything based on my own experience that really everything start with self,
yeah.
you know, everything.
Everything else can be learned, but it's very difficult to grow within yourself,
Well,
and
that will
build
be
a
a different type of learning, which will be the external type of learning. But
yep.
how are you going to learn from the external when you haven't learned from the internal yet?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It's so important.
What's the best advice you have ever received, given, and worst received?
Um, the worst advice I feel I ever received. Oh my God. Hmm. I think the worst advice for me personally, based off of who I am, is when someone tells me to not follow my dreams, and for me to not aim higher, for someone to, that's like the worst thing someone can say to me. Um, for me to play small and everything. That's why I look to books, and that's why I look to certain interviews with certain people who don't have that type of mindset. Um, I understand like a lot of people are in survival mindset, and that's totally understandable, because they don't necessarily know who they are.
That's a
Um,
big point. I've been studying survival and love mindset, and it taught me so much about
Totally different. Totally
taught me
different.
so much. And I feel like people needs to get out of the survival mode because survival mode you're only surviving, so you're not really getting more than what you should receive, and it's like it's saddening to see that. But sometimes people can't control that from the
Yeah.
environment, from the people they're dealing with and stuff, so
Yeah.
I understand.
I think that's the biggest thing for people is, I understand where the survival mindset is coming,
Yeah,
especially for us and a certain culture that we're in. Um, there are a lot of parameters for us to stay in that mindset and stay in that survival mode. So I'm sympathetic to that, and I'm compassionate with that. But the thing is, when you start to see this world and you understand that it's way more mental, um, it's you can't see a way out or in a path because you limit yourself from that survival mindset.
that's why
So
I say you're not getting more than what you should receive.
yeah, so even if you're in the hood,
Yeah,
if you live in that mindset of survival, you will never see a pathway of happiness and love. You'll never see the path or the notion of like what you can grab, even from the material, because you keep thinking that you're limited. Um, when you have a limitless mindset, then you can see so many possibilities. That I love this one thing that 50 Cent says, like no one knew that he was paying $800 for rent while he made $400 million. He wasn't in a survival mindset. It was the fact of the way he lived and he grew up, that he did not place his money in like, okay, I'm gonna show everyone else that I have more, and that I'm more. I'm just gonna make more. Um, and when I get to a certain amount is when I will spend it the way I want to spend it. So he was doing it on his accord. He wasn't doing it to showboat, no clout, everybody around him, none of that. And I think it's a very important that we shift our mindset when it comes to money, and we shift our mindset when it comes to our environment, our relationships. And people need to know that they're way more worthy than,
yeah.
and your character isn't based off of your zip code at all. Because I've met the most loving, protective people, in the worst environments versus in a well-established neighborhood, never felt safe, protected or loved properly in those spaces. So yeah, that's
I've learned that too. I've learned that so much from my relationships. It,
mhm.
I learned that so much. Oh Lord. What is the typical work day for you?
So I have somewhat of a routine, but somewhat not. That I which I love about it. My daughter is actually in school between the hours of 8 and 2 to 2:30. So for me, I like to do a lot of like my meetings with stores and pitching stores and going in with clients. A lot of my packaging and stuff like that. I like to do when she is in school. Mostly my running around. Because when I pick her up, we eat, we see if she has to do any homework and stuff like that. Well, she's only in kindergarten, so they got little homework like coloring and stuff.
What's up?
um, yeah. And then that's why I like being in my home because since I'm a single mother, I like the fact of like when she's sleeping and everything, like I can do candles until 1 in the morning if I want to. Um, which I haven't been. I've been really like making sure I cut it off by like 10, 11 o'clock at night and then really wind myself down. I even started going to the gym several times a week while she's in school. So I try to get as much stuff done in those hours outside of the house. And then when I'm in the house, making candles, packaging things. And she helps me with organizing. She likes to do, I give her little jobs and stuff like that. And I'm really trying to prime her into working for herself at this age. She's only 4.
Oh, you just made me think about an interview I was listening to. I'm
Ooh,
gonna send you the link, but
okay.
it's a single mother too, and she's a businesswoman, and she was talking about the mindset when it comes to generational wealth.
Yes.
So I was like, I love that she's talking about it, and she was mentioning how she puts her daughter into her business and her daughter receive money and pays from her. So
Mm-hmm.
now her daughter by the age of 5 already has money to even buy a home. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm like that's
Oh,
beautiful. I have to send you the link, but she goes in details how she does it, and I kind of go towards those type of people for advice too,
yes.
because they actually do it, and I see they came from nothing and coming up so hard, and I'm like, yes. I love
Yes. Yes. It's all about mindset. It's
it.
all
Yeah,
about mindset for sure. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I would love that because I've been seeing that a little bit here and there on TikTok, but nobody ever goes into detail
I'm
on
gonna
how.
send it to you right now because I'm wanting to have a kid just to do that, like,
It's just,
like,
I mean, if you think about it, when you go into your bodegas and everything and you go into your corner stores, like they always have their kids and everybody working for them.
but it's not that, because people make their kids work for free, but you could literally generate income for them while
yes,
working.
I love that aspect. I absolutely
So
love that
that's
aspect.
like a shift of mindset of having just your kid helping you out versus like actually building them up with you, which
Yeah.
that's
I
beautiful.
love both of it. It's amazing cuz like for me like even me putting this like all these things into a trust into her name, it's like okay, what if she doesn't want to do this like specifically? That's not what if it's not her path? Then at least I don't mind like if I die my daughter sells off my business and stuff like that and then she goes on her path and does what she wants to do. As long as she's happy. I think the biggest thing like is and so important, and I'm not going to also pressure her to be an entrepreneur. It's a certain type of person who really loves this game, who is in this game.
Right.
And if she wants to be like she's already talked about being a veterinarian and being a dancer, it's I'm going to support it 100%, so if this is not what she wants to do, that's cool. That's no problem.
Right.
But right now, since you're around, we're going to dabble in this and you're going to learn some stuff because it's not just business that you can take away from it. The interpersonal, the communication aspect, the managing your money aspect. There's so many things she can learn
I
by
just send you
somebody.
the link to the
Thank
video.
you.
I love her mindset. Like that girl, she's oh my god, I love her.
I
So I
can't
just
wait to
send
see
you
it.
the video. But I agree to it. What is the best way to handle failure?
The best way to handle failure is to think about it as a lesson and an experience that you need to experience. Like it's just a lesson. To not go so hard on yourself because you failed. The one thing I love about the people who do fear failure and they fear in a way where they just keep going and keep trying and keep modifying. I love that aspect of it. I actually fear success than anything. I don't fear failure. I fear success because I'm very introverted. I'm a Scorpio. I like to be in the background. Like I don't like to be in the limelight.
In the same
I get
light, yeah.
I get I don't get negative feedback being in the limelight, but it's just not me. Like
Yeah.
at all. Like if I was gonna be that star, I would not be the sun at
Right.
all. I would be further in the back. So for me, like you just have to look at it as a lesson. Like even from business to personal life, you're gonna fail many times. You're not always going to succeed. You're gonna make so many mistakes in life. And the biggest thing everyone needs to really accept for that is you can't grow without them. So
True.
be
True.
appreciative that like I went through this and now I know better. So or I learned something versus someone who doesn't learn and then they go through the cycle again and have to and it usually comes back 2 times harder. So um yeah,
I
just
agree. Totally
mhm.
agree. That's why I started doing a gratitude challenge for myself. So
Awesome.
every day I'll be like, I'm grateful for this and that, or like this pain, or like this lesson. I
Yeah.
agree when you say you wouldn't be here without it. So I agree.
Mhm.
What is the next step for your business? Your next step as an entrepreneur?
My next step is for me to get more accounts with stores, and then for me to, I want to get into some big supply chains, and then after that, I really want to open my own like candle supply manufacturing support because I really want to. I did what you did was I looked up everyone upstate New York and there's no candle suppliers
Right.
because Yankee Candle is like dominating. However, there's plenty of candle makers. So if there was a candle supplier up here, people don't have to go down to New York City or Pennsylvania or Massachusetts just to get supplies or pay all those shipping fees to ship it in.
Right.
They
And that's a bigger mindset, like shipping to a small business owner to really the manufacturer. Like,
Yes,
I,
yes. So I want to be that person for them, like having all the wax there and all the wicks and the dyes and everything like that, that you can drive right in so you can save money on shipping and you can come in and get your supplies. So that's really what my ultimate goal is for me to do because I love the wholesale aspect of teaming up with other candle companies to make their candles. But I really just really want to be a supplier because that business to business I see ching 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 like a lot of money just going that way. I just see it like
yeah.
so that'll help with that aspect of it, that business side of me, and then the creative side is me continuing to partner with other businesses and supplying them candles.
Right. I like that. What expenses should I expect when starting this type of business?
Um, there's always going to be expenses. The biggest thing everyone needs is automatically a website. Um, no matter what, you need a website because being connected to Google, sending someone to your website just really establish you as a business and not like a hobby. Licensing is so important. DBA, LLC, making sure that that aspect of your business for taxes and everything is legit and covered. So that's an expense. DBA is real cheap, like $25, but LLC, we're talking about like 100, $200, and then
$100 one time or like per month?
nope, one time. You also have to get your stuff into a newspaper, so that's a little bit of a money. Three newspapers is like $50
I
a
heard
piece.
with LLCs, you avoid double taxation.
Um, it's like a little. I'm still
You get
learning the
more
difference.
protected. I don't know, because I heard a lot of pros and a lot of cons when
It
it comes
is.
to
It is.
LLCs.
There is a lot of pros and cons because when you get into LLC, you have to pay yourself.
Yeah.
So then you're talking about all these other taxes um, because of the fact of like you're an employee. But a DBA is the way I say you should always start out. You can always level up. That's the great thing. So you don't need to start higher. You start with a DBA. Any licensing that you may need for your business, start with that, and then you can always level up. So right now I'm an LLC, but I can always go up to an S corp too. So I just didn't shoot straight up. And the more money you make is where you'll know what entity you need for tax breaks. So when you're starting off, that's not something you need to think about because you might be paying way more starting out than you even need to because you're not making that type of money yet. Um, so besides a website and then your licensing, another thing is just having a budget for your products is big. If you're gonna go the route of products versus services, having the budget for that and a good supplier is so important as well. And then everything else, it'll flow. Those are like the foundation, really.
Right. Okay. And then last question. Are there any specific permits, legislation, etc., that I need to consider when starting this business?
Yep. So I dabbled in that a little bit. Let's say if you do food, there are licensing for food licensors. For me, I have candles, so I also have general liability insurance. So if anything happens to someone, like they burn themselves or the candle goes up in flames or something, I'm protected. So that's the biggest thing is like making sure you have your licensing, making sure you have insurance. I'm also an insurance. I have insurance that also covers for vendors when I do my vendor events. So let's say if someone comes and they made a mistake and knocked over my candles, you know what I mean? Like I can be protected to if I wanted to take it out in my insurance and replace it, just like you do your car. You could do that as well. Um, so I pay for that monthly. My insurance is, but the licensing is like a one-time fee every year. I think I have to pay for my LLC every year. Um, but that's really it's not really much you need because that's the one thing that really gets people really bogged down a lot of like I don't know if I should start a business because of everything. You really don't need much to start.
Right.
It's about when you are growing and you're making a certain amount of money, then you need to know some things like deductions and stuff like that, how to get credits if you want a car in your business, how to go about that, what type of car, how much it weighs. It's like certain things you get into once you start growing. But to start, it is so low cost. It is so low. And as long as you kind of take that bootstrapping mentality of like, okay, I'm gonna get my DBA, get my website, get my logo. These are things I want to focus in on, and then I'm gonna start at home, and this is how I'm gonna do. Um, and another thing for you, specifically for your business, when you mention if you want to do yoni and waxing and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
there are stores that let you rent rooms with a table so you can rent a room and then start your business that way.
Oh wow. So I could start building like branding and like customers.
And yep, and have them come to like say, all right, for instance, like there's a hair studio in Troy. She not only has her hair studio in the front, so your clients will walk through. She also has two rooms in the back where one she does waxing, the other one she does massage therapy. So it's like if she ever wanted to rent those rooms out, which there's plenty of people who do that. You go on Craigslist, Facebook, etc. They'll rent the room out to people, and you can be there with your table, and you can do and your Yoni Steam section all in that one room. You rent the room out, and that's how you can start your business. And an email list is so important too, which it starts off free and then there's a monthly fee. Building an email list is so important because having that ongoing conversation with someone, letting them know about specials, getting them back in the door, that is so vital. Like social media doesn't show all of your followers your post every time you post, but your email can go to them every day and they'll open the email.
Right,
So if you do, you can always start that way. That's what I would start. Instead of starting with a store, I would start with renting a room with a
right.
table and a Yanni.
I was thinking even doing online for right now. So like maybe building my own Yoni pearls. And
Oh, nice.
yeah, I've tried couple Yoni pearls before, and I feel like it's working. It really is working to the fullest. Like Yoni pearls have herbs in them, and
Mm-hmm,
the frequency of the herb is just so high that once you put that in your yoni, you
mm-hmm.
feel like all like any energies that was trapped in there literally goes right into the thing, and it goes like that into the yoni, and then once you take it out, it's like everything is like getting out.
Yes. See,
And
that's so awesome. So that means okay for you. For you, then you started social media. You start all your content educating people on Yanni. Then you send them to your website to get on your email list. You can give them like a free little guide. And that's like you getting them on your email list. Or you can give them like a discount if you're gonna be selling the Yoni pearls on there. You educating them gets them over to your website. You having a product to sell or a freebie gets them to buy or get on your email list. And then you make the sale and then you keep the conversation going in more depth on your email list. So it's like here's like a little tip, but you go in depth on your email list. And that's a good way because for you to start. So then when you do open your store, all those people that you've been building this whole time on your email list, you can shoot an email and let them know, okay, now your storefront is here. And now they can actually go and get a steam with you. So you're taking them on your journey from the beginning to the end. And it's all about just free content of educating people. How do you use it? What's the benefits of it? Why should I use it? What is those myths? Like, what is it going to do to my vagina? Is it going to pull up my pH balance? All these questions that they might be
it
having.
won't it actually heals the pH balance.
And that's what we need to know because I
And
don't see enough
actually, I didn't
talk
even
about
know
it.
that. I really did not even know that. But you'll be shocked from the yoni pearls. When you go to the doctors, and some doctors tell you to certain females, they tell you, oh, you cannot have kids or something
Yep.
like that. Like a lot of females struggle with that.
Yep.
And the problem is not that you're sterile or cannot have kids. The
Hmm.
problem is that everything in there is just stocked up.
Yep.
You have stocked up things in there
Hmm.
that makes you not being able to be pregnant. But
Yep.
once you clear all that out and then do your own little cleaning, you will be
Hmm.
able to get pregnant. And
And
one of
that's
my
why we need to
friends,
have that talk. We need that. You need all that content because I was also told that I couldn't have kids in my marriage. We got a divorce, and I got with my karmic, who I've known since I was 11, and I had my daughter. So some doctor told me I wasn't able to at all.
right, right.
So that's in it's so interesting. Like that's the biggest thing. Like all those little questions is all content. So you can post on what's the name? And then if you do lives, it'll be huge because them seeing you talk, you can talk. I'm engaged with you this whole time. If you sitting here talking about it, you write your notes and make sure that you just on point, like these are the tips and stuff like that, even if it's for a nice little 20 minutes. And then it'll just like, oh, join my email list or buy my Yoni, you can go on my website, da 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 da, here's a little coupon, and people will do it. And it's a great way for them to get to know you and learn more about their health in this type of way because there's
Right,
not
and it's
enough people
so
talking about it.
important. It could go from a little tiny yoni pearl to saving your whole entire life. Like
Yes. I
it's
want to try it. You gotta put.
I have some over here, and I did it once. I'm about to do it again the
Mhm.
next month, but it helped me out. Oh my goodness. Like I was going through the whole process from nighttime to the whole day. I felt so calm. I felt so good. I felt so beautiful. I felt like everything was releasing. Like
Yes.
it was just such a good experience.
Oh,
And
see, this will be
yeah.
awesome. You should start it.
So
Find out who
yeah,
also
I'm
supplies
starting.
it.
I'm gonna do a
Right.
business planning. That's what I'm gonna do because you pushing me to do it. Like you're pushing me
It's
to want
easy.
to
It's easy. Do it.
do
Long as you do it, you just do it like, how can I help? And you always put in your mindset of, how can I help someone else? And
Right.
then
That's how I
you will
am.
come.
That's how I am. Like I'm not doing entrepreneurship for money because I lost
It'll
tons of
come.
money. I sit on tons of money that I've spent left and right. You know,
Yep.
I'm not worried about money, at all. I'm more
Mhm.
worried about helping people out and like
Yes.
where are we going as a generation? It's so sad.
Big. Yeah, that's big.
So sad. And it makes me upset that just even men and women, the roles that we have are
Oh,
like
oh my God.
it's terrible. I don't know, and it's making me so upset.
It is, me
Making me
too. It
so
makes
upset.
me nervous to have even any more kids. And if I could throw her back to save her from the way things are, I would because it's like, ugh,
That's
just
how I'm thinking
division.
too. I
Too
don't
much
even want to
division.
have kids because it's like especially for a female, a woman in this
Yeah.
generation, like the
Yeah.
roles have switched when it comes to men and women. The
Yep.
roles have completely switched. So from
Yes,
there,
it
we
has.
lost everything.
Yes. And it's so difficult to be a woman who's aware of it and to get a man to see you're not what society, all of societal women are, majority are. So it's so hard to get them in a place of like leading
Yeah,
and taking accountability and like, you have to step in that role that you're naturally in and let me be in my natural state and us respect that. And it's very difficult because it's this whole shift of mindset of programming that
programming definitely.
you have to kill down. It's like, oh my gosh. So
And it's stressing me out because it's like you have to knock this whole thing down for the next generation.
yeah.
It's like, oh Lord.
It'll take time, but we could do it. I still have faith. Like so many people around me is like losing faith in it, and I'm like, I have faith because at
I
the end of
have
the day,
faith too.
God didn't wake us up for no reason. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? So we could have been with our veils still over our eyes and still just walking through life program too. There's a reason why many of us are awakened is because we are meant to do and make those impressions. Like Tupac said, like as long as I make a impression on the next person who's gonna put it in the work and take it a step further, then I've done my job. And that's what we're
Right.
here to do. Is we're here to just kick it in. Oh, now start thinking, start shifting, at least start waking up. And they might, and then the next generation will probably be the ones, if we continue to do that, to actually make the actions.
I have faith that the next generation will become better only if we're doing the work for ourselves.
100%. 100%. Because they're coming in here full of love and light. My daughter's just so like, you're my friend, they're my friends, come here, friend. And I'm like,
Right.
this world is gonna eat you up.
Yes, yes.
Like,
And that's something as a child myself, I was never taught that. I was taught like everything will be okay, go make friends, nobody will bother you, blah blah blah. But it's like once you actually get out, it's hard because you could get stepped on and really die. Like
oh, yes, yes, yeah. It's hard to also explain it to her of like she doesn't understand like, why is this person being mean to me? It's like, Whoa,
And it's
like,
sad because I feel like the outside world shouldn't be like that, where we have to change our inner world.
oh yeah.
It's like,
Yeah. And that's the big thing is like I'm teaching her when to be loving and pushing it out, and when to have the guard up, because you have to have that protection for yourself. Unfortunately, because everyone's not meant and worthy of your light, and
mm,
sometimes you have to guard that. And that's something that's been very tough for me that I had to learn, but I didn't have someone teach me at this young age. She's way younger to learn now. um and modify now and protect that now, but also for me to keep pushing her to be authentic, to not lose that and stay who you are. And who you are is beautiful and it's wonderful. You just need to know when to turn it off for whom and who. And that's the thing you're going to learn through life. And
definitely.
yeah, when you need to put that guard up and protect yourself, that's the biggest thing that she will have to learn, because I don't want to be too tough on her that she loses that beautiful space that she holds of like, everyone just give me a hug. I just want to take care of everyone. Like, I love that aspect of, I just don't want her to lose that. And sometimes with harsh circumstances, some people lose that in them. But
Definitely, definitely. And that's where I feel like it's sad because you could get her so much and lose yourself completely, where it's like you don't even know how to love no more. And I see
mhm,
that in a lot of people out here. And I'm like, please don't lose your love.
yeah,
Don't lose it. It's
yeah.
beautiful. Like, you know.
Yeah, you don't lose your love. You don't lose your heart. It's like you just know when you need to turn it off. And it was like Black Widow's movie. I don't know if you've seen that, but that's what the biggest thing, the lady actress, she was like, "How did you not lose your heart?" And she was like, "Because you told me not to, so I held on to it." And that was the biggest thing, is like, just something so simple as just teaching your kids that, and telling them that, and communicating with them is important. But honestly, I feel like she was here not for me personally. She came through for me because I can see now a human at their essence. So I when I dealt with my karmic, I could have took the bitter route that a lot of women are taking, where it's like, oh, don't want to be with men, forget men, don't like humans, shut down from the world, etc. But when I had my child, she reminded me that every single human started this way, of love and light, and then the world tarnishes them into what they are, so they have to heal and put those the heart back together, so they can get back to this. So now I deal with people with more compassion and empathy, because I can see how you went from this little girl to who you are. I understand. Like,
Yeah.
I get it,
Yeah.
so
I
when
feel
I
the same way. That's why it's making me upset that people are the way that they are, because we all started like that. We all started like with love in our mouths, with the energy of wanting to love and stuff. And it's just like,
Mhm. Yeah, we didn't see black and white. We didn't
yeah,
see rich and poor. We didn't, none of that. None of
that's what
those
I'm saying.
parameters of division was
We
here.
sing from the soul, and that's why I
Yeah.
want to go back to really like being able to talk to you and really just talk to your soul and not to your ego.
Yes. Oh, that's huge. That
Yeah,
is the biggest thing.
yeah, yes.
I'm realizing too, when I'm around people, is I refuse to talk to your ego.
That's a
I
fact.
Yep. It's gonna be a little bit difficult to connect with me, because you have to open your heart and you have to open your soul. Yes.
Yeah.
And when you are like that, you really leave imprints on people's lives.
I
You
know. I've talked to many people. I've tried to wake up so many people. I kind of gave up on that because it's like, oh, you
It's
crazy.
not your job.
It's not my job, but it's true that yeah, not my job.
It's
Like,
not your job. You just have to show, you being you shows them there's another way of being, but it's not your job to wake them up or to get them to see things and see life in a certain way that you're seeing it now. It's their job, like you did, to like when you went in and you started digging in, you started researching, you started figuring out, you started tuning in, it's their job to do
Yeah,
that itself. And
yeah.
it's so important for them to do that. Yeah. But it makes us lonely on this side. Oh.
I'd rather be lonely than be surrounded by 10 people that do not care about me, to be
Who
honest.
you telling?
To be honest, me too.
I 100% agree with you. I've been at peace now in
Me
this space,
too. Peace.
and I protect it. So it's like even when like Mercury come back and everybody want to come back, and it's just like, what are you coming with? Because there's a certain type of energy you can come close to me with. If not, you can leave it right on this text. Because I haven't let nobody in my house. Nothing like. It's only certain people who can go in my space.
Good, because energy is real. Energy never
Yes,
dies, energy only transfers. So,
yes, it does, and it is something else.
yeah, yeah.
But we have to do this again. We have to just talk anytime. Like I would love it.
Definitely. I will I'm gonna go over your website and see your book and stuff, and then we could like hang out or like,
Yeah,
talk
I can bring
about
you a
business.
book. Yeah, we can go like have some tea or lunch or something like that. I'll bring you the book, and then that way we could like sit down and chat and stuff like that. That would be
Sounds
awesome.
great. I love that.
Awesome, yay! So let me. I'm gonna get ready. I'm gonna go get my little one, and then when I get back, I'm gonna see. I'm gonna like load you with so much stuff. But her business, and I'm gonna send you some of these books that I have in my room that I've been like tampering with as well, for sure.
Okay, sounds great.
Right.
Thank you so much for taking your time with me, honestly.
Oh, I'm glad I did. I'm so happy I did. It's so nice to like connect with you. This has been a great session for
A
sure.
great talk and
Yes.
open my brain more to things as well.
Same here. Same
Yeah,
here.
yeah. Well, thank you. I'll see you later.
All right. I'll talk to you later.
Bye bye.
Bye.